All right, good evening. Um, it's Stephen here, and I just wanted to quickly give a brief presentation on your book or literature review that you guys will be doing here in the next couple weeks. We have provided resources on BB Learn, as well as we're always here to help. But just as I said, a quick overview of a book review. So, without a book review or a literature review or framework where the history and the big ideas of an area are discussed, a paper drifts. Something that's really important to understand about your literature review or your book review that you guys will be doing here is that this provides you the framework and the understanding for your topic and the different literature that's going to be out there. And it'll provide you guys with the framework for your other publications that you'll be doing, your other articles. Now, book reviews as a type of manuscript, we do have, it's a form of research that it reviews, critiques, and synthesizes the literature on your topic. Now, the topic for this class is, how to write a high-quality dissertation. So you're gonna be looking for that literature uh, that does all this, and then presenting that literature in a way that you're reviewing it, you're critiquing it, and you're synthesizing some sort of knowledge, whether it be new or old, or mature, for your review. Now, a literature review does this in a way that it integrates new frameworks and perspectives on the topics that are generated. And even when you have a mature or an existing topic, that review, it should lead you to a new understanding or conceptualization of that topic. And so you're going to be looking at, your literature, the book that you do for your book review, and in comparison to the other literature, and you're going to have a new understanding or draft that new knowledge of what it means to write a high quality dissertation. So, writing your book reviews or writing your literature reviews, you're first going to want to start off with examining the literature with a particular lens as defined by your topic or objectives. So, in this case, you're going to be looking at it through the lens of, writing a high quality dissertation, and your books should be on that topic, and you're going to go into knowing that this is what your literature says, and analyzing it through that lens, and analyzing other literature through that lens. You should also be able to tell a story that critically analyzes the literature and leads you to arriving at that specific conclusion for your uh, literature review. Now, a critical analysis of your literature review, it does require you to examine the main ideas or the relationships of the literature that you have. So you have your books that you're going to be doing your literature reviews on, and you're going to take that book and you're going to analyze it between, other literature that's out there, other references or sources that you're going to find, and you're going to pull the big main ideas and kind of create those relationships or identify those issues with the different literature out there. You're going to provide a critique of the existing literature. You're going to do more than just review. You have your books, you have your topics, and you're going to say, okay, this is what we have, and compared to the other literature that's out there, here's what it's missing, here's where it's deficient, but here's where it's really strong. You're going to make that evaluation of how the literature represents the topic you're studying. So that book that you're reading or the book that you're using for your book review, how does it represent, as it is, a high quality dissertation? You're going to deconstruct the topic into its basic elements, so the origin of the topic, the main concepts, the key relationships that interact with those concepts. You're going to apply those topics, what have you. You're also going to be able to lay out that foundation for the critique. You're going to identify the strengths, as I was saying, the key contributions of the literature, any deficiencies, omissions, inaccuracies, etc. of the literature as compared to the other literature that you found. And so you have, two topics, two books, or you have, your 15 references for the annotated bibliography, all based around creating a high quality dissertation. What does your book for your book review miss? What does it lack? But where is it strong in? What does it provide to this field, to the idea of writing a high quality dissertation? And that, like I said, you're going to compare it to other pieces of literature. You're also going to be synthesizing new knowledge and taking what you've read and what you've studied and what you found and putting it into something that's new, or maybe even leading into a new area of research. You're going to take advantage of the depth of the book's insights to create that understanding of the topic. You're gonna read your books, and you're gonna say, okay, this is what this provides, and here's how it goes further. Here's where this literature goes further as well. And based on all of this, this is where we should be heading next. You're going to integrate those existing ideas as well as any new ideas that may come about when you're writing a literature review to kind of pave that way for that future research. It is important, though, to understand that this is not a data dump, though. You're not just regurgitating what you read or what was stated. You are providing a new conceptual framework of the topic. You're synthesizing that information that you've read, and you're identifying, what's there, how does it play into this topic, and how can we rework it and reconceptualize it to the future. And although you do summarize that previous research and that the previous literature, you're still developing that new view of the topic, that new identity for it. Now, there are some forms of synthesizing that you can take a look at, and this is in an article provided on BBLearn. A research agenda, that flows logically. Critical analysis of the literature. You should pose some questions that give kind of direction for that future research. You can do other conceptual classifications of constructs, alternative models, or meta theory. These are just some ways that some of the literature we've posted on BBLearn identifies for synthesizing your literature reviews or your book reviews. But one thing does remain, and that's it should be clear. It should be clear logic as well as providing a conceptual reasoning. You have to provide a justification for the concept that you're constructing, as well as providing those origins or how those origins have developed from the literature review. And then you're also stimulating further research on topic. You're laying down a foundation for future research or theory and presenting those new relationships that might not have been explored before. Perhaps you're reading your books and there's something that's missing that maybe another piece of literature lightly identifies, and you bring that up in your literature review, and you understand that there are these holes in the research that we've been provided, or that's been going on, and this is where we should be going forward with. And you're going to find those deficient areas and say, okay, well, this book provides this, and this is what this book gives us, and I really like that. But this is where some other literature shines, and I think that the book that we're using, it misses, and it should have that. You also need to make sure that you're writing in a clear writing style. Clarity and tone of your writing, grammatically correct. It's understandable, and it adds quality to your piece. You should avoid lengthy discussions, omit needless words. You just need to be clear, clear and concise, so that your readers understand, where you're going. Make it understandable for a layperson. Make it understandable for those who might not necessarily be as educated on the matter as you are. So this is one checklist that I was able to identify from some of the researches that we provided you, and it's you just look at it and say before writing an integrative literature review or comprehensive literature review, as you'll be doing, what type of article will be written, or what topic are you focusing on? Are you doing new topic or mature topic? Because we've asked you to make sure that your books are not older than 2015, you can assume that it's probably going to be a mature topic. Some of the research we provided you on BBLearn does go into the difference between being interested um, in a topic for literature review and there being a need for literature review. Kind of look at that, and that might actually drive which way you do your book review. And then you have the organizing of the literature review as well as writing one as well. And then there is one other checklist that you kind of can go down through for the book reviews. Linkage to the most important literature. What those references. You're coming up with 15 references for your annotated bibliography, all on high quality dissertations. Link your book for your book review to that literature. What does it provide? What doesn't it provide? You're going to consider all the literature, and you're focus on those important areas in your topic. You're going to frame your literature in a way that develops arguments, it's logical, and it justifies the direction that maybe the research is going. You're going to be thorough and accurate as well. You're going to demonstrate an understanding of the literature that you know where it's going, you know what you've read, and you can draw those inferences from the previous work. Something that you should be aware of is not to overstate, misinterpret, or even misapply the previous work to your literature review. No one should be doing that. You also need to identify any major issues or themes in the literature that are relevant. So if you're reading your book and, like I said, you seem to be missing something, there seems to be a hole in it that other literature provides, address that. Let the readers know that. You're going to review your literature critically, and you're going to point out the limitations, any ambiguities. You're also going to avoid tangents, any marginally relevant references, or maybe even literature that's not needed. Things you should be able to pull those relationships and pull those connections from your literature. And as I said, you're going to educate enough to prompt subsequent research and consider new areas of the literature. Some things that you should be wary about is that it is your books or topics that you identified in your introduction. You do need to make sure that it is no later than or no older than 2015, and Dr. Freeman has provided the reasoning of you can use these literature reviews and your annotated bibliographies and things like that for future publications, and so 2015 is the max. And then you need to make sure you go beyond just a review of the book itself. Go beyond just addressing what was the book about, and here's my opinion of the book. Definitely provide a background to the book. What happened in it? What was given overview of the literature, but go beyond that. You're going to identify the strengths and the weaknesses in it. You're going to identify what's missing and what the other literature has and what it doesn't address. And you're going to analyze in comparison to all of the other research and those topics and whatnot that you've provided to really make that comprehensive reworking of the framework that we're going into for this literature review. If you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to ask Dr. Freeman or I. We're here to help, and have a great night.